all good people are asleep and dreaming.
It's pretty funny to me when I meet Bitcoiners that are anti gun or gun people that are anti Bitcoin because it displays like a lack of foundational values. The two things go hand in hand. They enable a kind of independence and potential freedom that's, cohesive. So if you're into Bitcoin or guns for actual reasons, you should be into both. Let's ask an important question. Why are you holding Bitcoin? Why are you stacking sats? To buy a bigger pod and eat more bugs? Are you doing it for financial freedom? Yeah, that's great, but why do you want that financial freedom? And if you're into guns but you don't like Bitcoin, well, did you know you can buy guns with Bitcoin? You can have more guns. This is kind of a symptom of a bigger problem. Like a lot of us think, actually, I blame the libertarians for this. A lot of us think that, oh, if you just leave me alone, everything will be great. But that's not actually how society works. If you want to be left alone, that's exactly what's gonna happen. You will be completely alone. And then your enemies that want to get you will get you because you're totally alone. Let's talk about trust. So, Bitcoin and guns are both technologies that solve the problem of trust. Bitcoin solves the problem of having to trust third parties to, have financial freedom, such as banks, PayPal, etc. And Bitcoin solves this problem because it makes it so you don't have to trust anyone. You are your own bank. You have your financial freedom in your own hands. The types of people that don't get or like Bitcoin are the types of people who tend to trust that the government and the banking system will never take their financial freedom away. Similarly, guns are a technology that solves the problem of having to trust that no one will ever hurt you, or and like people who don't like guns tend to be people who've never had anything bad happen to them ever, and who tend to trust that governments and extension of governments such as police will never hurt them and will always protect them. The truth is, governments censor and steal your wealth constantly, and bad people exist and hurt people constantly. Usually governments. So you kind of need Bitcoin and guns. Having said that, people being into Bitcoin and guns is actually a negative signal in society. It signals low trust. And a low trust society is ultimately a society that devolves into chaos. It's not a coincidence that we saw a huge increase in Bitcoin adoption and gun sales during COVID. I am very thankful to have these trustless technologies, and it's one of the reasons why they're amazing, because you don't have to trust anyone. But when you look at the bigger picture, trust is good. You want to be able to trust others. So my approach here is don't trust, verify. That's good, but why not both? And you can only do this on a local level. Revolutions are bad. So do it on a local level. Start with yourself, your family, and work your way up to the community where you can trust each other. This is another problem with the largeness of government and its systems. It takes it makes you dependent on the systems and services that they provide, which makes you not have to trust your neighbors, and it displaces responsibility. So, someone else will take care of my neighbor. But you do want to have that local trust on each other. Again, looking at COVID, the majority wanted the state to come in and introduce more laws and rules and punishments. And this was so easily ushered in and demanded by some because we don't want to take care of each other. The real crisis of today isn't voter fraud, riots, and viruses. Those things only seem like a big deal because we're so utterly alone. The real crisis of today is our incredible lack of commitment to each other, our community, and to basic fundamental morals. So here's a 6-point strategy to supplement your Bitcoin and gun hoarding and to make sure that you are not utterly alone. Number 1, family. Not everyone has great parents, but if you do have loving parents, keep them close and appreciate them. No one will ever love you more. Now, if you don't have loving parents and you don't have a good family, did you know you can make your own? Find a lovely wife or become the lovely wife and have some babies. Post every kid at every exit with a 22 and you got yourself an impenetrable fortress. Number 2, friends. Do you have in-person, meaningful, long-lasting friendships? We've all had bad friends, even Jesus, but you can bounce back from this and curate a small community of loyal, endearing, and skilled friends that will be there when things hit the fan. Find friends in your local area that are mutually beneficial, and if they're not around, then get them to move where you are. This requires you not living in shitty areas, although the other tactic is bring awesome people to the shitty area and make the area less shitty. Number 3, community. Most of us have a community online. Most of us can't even name 5 neighbors. This is a problem. Yes, random anons from all over the internet do sometimes mobilize and can be useful, but you don't actually know these people and you don't know if they can be trusted or relied upon. Also, they can be feds. So, in-person, meaningful relationships. Go. Now, if you want boots on the ground, you need roots on the ground. So, number 4, property. Buy land. If you're renting, you're just someone's pet. Buy land. If you cannot afford to buy land, move somewhere where you can afford to buy land. If you still can't afford to buy land, do it together with your friends. Be self-sufficient, learn some skills, be ready to hunker down, although I hope we will never have to. Also, I know they have a bad rep, but get some pit bulls to guard your property. Another pro tip for building a community and finding reliable friends is go to specifically Orthodox church. A lot of really tuned in people there. Number 5, know your enemy. Do you not think that people are going to take advantage of this crisis situation that we are in? Do you not think that they're gonna do everything they can to create an environment where it's harder and harder and harder for you to make and keep your own money? Property. They're going to make it harder to have property. They're going to make it harder to defend that property. They're going to make it harder for you to have a family. These people are literally insane. And at the very best, incompetent. I really don't care which, because the result is the same. So, know your enemy, and then know how to peacefully resist. So to summarize, why are you stacking sats and guns? If you listen to this presentation, then the answer becomes very clear. For the protection of myself, my family, my friends, and my property. I will also add, and to uphold the fighting spirit of my ancestors. So help me God.